So we're just going to do a brief review for this being in class just to make sure it makes sense. And the key ideas that are involved in this is this idea of inequalities. Inequalities are these symbols that we're used to using now, or hopefully used to using now. And what it just means is you always point to the less, or to the one that's smaller. So 5 is greater than 3. If you want to have it, 5 is greater than or equal to 3. And 3 is less than or equal to 5. So that's key to understanding this idea of that we've got these two different types of symbols. This means greater than, or excuse me, this means less than or equal to. This means greater than or equal to. And this means less than, and this means greater than. I'm just going from left to right here. Make sure that makes sense. And it's important to understand the difference between this symbol and this symbol, and this symbol and this symbol. So the key concept is you've got to, if you're solving an inequality and you have something like x is greater than 5, well actually let's see here, 3 plus x is greater than 5, you're going to just do what you would do with an equation. You're going to subtract 3 from both sides, end up with x is greater than 2. And one thing that sometimes is a little bit difficult to understand, but this here, any solution that's greater than 2. 2.1 is a solution to this inequality. 5 million is a solution to these inequalities. So a lot of times in inequalities, there's an infinite amount of solutions. And so that's important to keep in mind, because otherwise you won't have the full range of solutions. Because you're not solving an equation, you're solving an inequality. So looking at this, we already did this problem in the homework, so we're not going to do this one here. But as a refresher here, solve the inequality and graph your solution. 17 plus x is greater than or equal to 20. What we're going to do is, I'm going to write this off to the side, 17 plus x is greater than or equal to 20. So we're going to subtract 17 from both sides. When we do that, we end up with x is greater than or equal to 3. Now we plot that point. It's going to be on 3, but it's a filled in circle. Filled in circles are for greater than or equal to or less than or equal to. Filled in circles. Open circles are when you have greater than or less than. The open circle indicates that the point that you're starting on is not a solution. So this here, what I just did here, says that 3 is a solution. Now I just need to have it pointed in the right way. Greater than, x is greater than or equal to 3. So I'm going to go ahead this way. It's important to check your answers. So what I like to do is I normally choose 0, and then I plug it into the original equation. So I'm going to plug that in up here. 17 plus 0 is 17. Is 17 greater than or equal to 20? No, it's not. But that's fine because 0 is not a solution. If 0 was a solution, then the arrow would be pointing in the other direction. It's pointing in this direction because it indicates everything like 10 is a solution, because 17 plus 10 is 27, and that's greater than 20. So that's a key thing to understand about this. So for this next problem here, negative 5 is greater than s minus 1. I'm going to add 1 to both sides, and I end up with negative 4 is greater than s. So in this case here, it's going to be an open circle, and negative 4 is greater than s, so it's going to be pointing that way. And now I'm going to try that 0 trick again. Well, if I plug in 0 to the original equation, negative 5 is greater than 0 minus 1. No, that's not true, but again, we're fine because it's not on the part that the arrow is pointing towards, so we know we're okay. So that's how these work. I'm going to do one more here. It says here, Cyber Cafe charges users a minimum fee of $2 for internet access. Write an inequality to represent the access fee. So it's a minimum fee when you walk in the door. They're charging you $2, no matter how long you spend in the internet cafe. It's kind of something that people don't do as much anymore, but still. So here, a minimum of $2. So that means $2 is a solution. And it's going to be pointed in this direction because the longer you stay, the more you're going to pay. Suddenly they're not going to go ahead and make you pay less because you're staying a longer time. So hopefully this makes sense, and if you got any questions when I come back, I'm happy to work with you during tutorial. And for now, you can go ahead and get started on the homework, which will be put up on the board in just a minute.